himself thinks that they're going to walk all over the Tennessee Titans. People think the Bears are going to walk all over the Tennessee Titans and walk themselves in the NFC playoffs this season. Hell, it may not even be a Super Bowl. Might even be NFC North Championship, dethroning the Detroit Lions. But Combs, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to go into Chicago, into Soldier Field, week 1, and rain on everybody's parade. So I want you to change my mind. How can the Chicago Bears beat the Tennessee Titans on Sunday?
Look, the Chicago Bears are in a very special circumstance, right? Like I've heard all week, people are like, oh, they're a rookie quarterback hasn't won their first start in the NFL since like 1980, whatever it was, Dan Marino or something like that. And I'm like, well, how many of those quarterbacks were put in the situation that Caleb Williams was put in? How many of those quarterbacks were given the elite talent around them that Caleb Williams has been given? And with Rome Odunze, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen being your weapons, not to mention you got a guy like DeAndre Swift now in your backfield, along with Roschon Johnson, who, by the way, I think is going to be the number one running back in the Bears offense this year, because I think that dude is a dog. I look at this team, and I look at the team like the Tennessee Titans coming in. And look, they've got a good team. I like Will Levis. I like Will Levis. I was high on him when they drafted him. I think Will Levis is going to be a very good quarterback. They don't have enough weapons in Tennessee. Not to mention, not only do they not have enough weapons, they just lost their number one running back, and they replaced him with one of the most underperforming running backs last year in Tony Pollard. You got a brand new coaching staff. All the numbers, all the things that people are talking about with the Bears and Caleb Williams and quarterbacks number one. When was the last time that a team has lost this much, including a whole new coaching staff, has come out and won a game, their first game coming into a new season? That's that. I'd like to see that number 2. Yeah. I think there's too many detractions for the Titans. I don't think that it's going to be an easy win. I do think that the Bears will end up winning by 10. I got them. I think I picked them at 27-17. I do like the Bears to win this game. I think their defense is a top 3 or 4 defense in this league. Their secondary is over elite. People are going to know the name Tyreek Stevenson. And on the other side of Jalen Johnson, to me, Tyreek Stevenson's the better cornerback. I said this last year, watching Tyreek Stevenson play. I said, if they don't pay Jalen Johnson, I'm fine with them not paying Jalen Johnson, because we got Tyreek Stevenson, and I like him as a shutdown corner. But they paid Jalen Johnson, and they have Tyreek Stevenson. So I really like this team. I think Byard is an upgrade over at free safety for the Bears, and I just think that this team is ready to go. And I like the swagger that I saw during Hard Knocks. I like the swagger that I saw in the preseason. Look, Caleb Williams, people are like, oh, he looks. Here's how half the fan base was. The fan base that loved Justin Fields was all like, oh, he looks like trash. Look at all the incompletions that he's thrown. But they don't want to mention the 5 or 6 drops that there were during that game. But then the people that love Caleb Williams are like, oh, he looks great. Did you see that one throw? But they don't mention the 3 or 4 overthrows or underthrows that he had. Right. Caleb Williams looked like a rookie in the preseason of his rookie year. That showed flashes of his potential, but also showed signs of being a rookie in the NFL. I think that there are going to be some growing pains with Caleb Williams. I still have my concerns about him holding on to the ball too long, but he has alleviated a lot of my concerns about his mentality of the game just by listening to the kid talk. And he has alleviated like anything other than holding on to the ball too long. I no longer have any concerns about Caleb Williams. I think that the Bears are going to be just fine. I think they're going to be better than people think. A lot of people have them at 6-7. I think the Vegas had them at 8.5 was their over/under. I think they beat that. I think they're a 10-win football team, and I think they can contend for a wild card spot.
So when I look at the Chicago Bears, much like you, I actually watched the preseason games. I just didn't watch the highlights. I just didn't listen to what the analysts were saying. I believe it was the 3rd preseason game when they played the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe it was, and that first 2 drives of Caleb Williams, I'm like, what is all this hype about? Because he was missing throws left, he was missing throws high, low. He just looked like a rookie quarterback, just like you said. But as soon as I was getting ready to post that on Facebook, the third drive came and he looked like a MVP caliber quarterback, making all these damn throws. I believe he let him down the field in like 4 plays or 5 plays, something ridiculous.
That off-script throw that crossed his body off of his back foot while he was in the air, too, nonetheless. Yep. That throw, and that was 40 yards downfield, right. But he was in the air when he threw the ball. Like that, yeah. And he makes it look easy when he does those things. That's what I'm really excited about. And I don't compare him to him because it's really hard to be compared to one of the greatest of all time. But he does a lot of the easy things that shouldn't be easy that Patrick Mahomes does. Yeah. I don't think he's as good as Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he is Patrick Mahomes. But he just has that ease about him that I can do this. I can flip it behind my back. I can no-look pass. I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff from Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately his downfall and the Chicago Bears this season is that he does all the great things so easily, but the basic things he seems to not concentrate on them, and he miscues on those basic things like the simple out routes. He throws it 5 yards out of bounds. A simple slant route wide open, throws it at his knees. Right, it's just those easy throws he seems to have problems with. Now the throw, like you just imagined, it was a dime. I believe it was to I think it was DJ Moore. Right, he put it right on him, and it was a great play. But those previous 2 drives, I'm like, what is going on? But
we'll see. That's the part of him that looked like a rookie. You know what I mean? Like those are the the growing pains. But I don't know did you catch any of Hard Knocks?
I watched the first 2 episodes. I need to get caught up, and that's planned.
So when you watch the Hard Knocks, it's like you're watching him, and the things that I liked about him was that when there was an issue, like if he wasn't hitting a route or if a guy ran the wrong route, instead of him like complaining, like he goes to Shane Waldron. He's like, "Hey, what did I see there? What was the issue on that one? What did I do wrong?" And he's asking the questions as opposed to just getting frustrated, as opposed like he wants to learn, he wants to be better. And I think he has that mentality of same way that again, Patrick Mahomes has, the same way Tom Brady had it, the same way that even Peyton Manning had it. When they struggle, they are going to find a way to not make the same mistake twice. And that's where I think that eventually he will be successful. And you might be right, but I think that they're going to be a 10-win football team this year just because of their schedule too. Their schedule for the first 10 weeks. I mean, minus Houston in week 2. I mean, they could easily. I think they'll probably lose a game or 2 in there, but they could easily be 9-1 heading into that first meeting with Green Bay. I mean, it's very conceivable.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And Ken, I think that's one of their biggest upsides is they do have a very favorable schedule. I believe they had the 7th hardest or the 7th easiest schedule in the NFL this season based off of last season. But when you talked about how good the Bears are, I've seen people say the Bears have an elite defense, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But on the same time, guys, the Titans, they were a 6-win team last season. I get it. But they had 4 or 5 one-score games last season. If the ball bounces one way or the other late in the fourth quarter, they are a 10, 11, if not a 12-win team going to the playoffs last season. Yes, they did move on from Derrick Henry. He was getting a little long in the tooth, and he was incorporating into that old play style that, what's the Titans' old head coach name now? Mike Vrabel, right? Like, it was that whole hardcore run it down your throat mentality. Once Mike Vrabel left, I felt like Derrick Henry had to leave because they wanted a new identity. I mean, you still have D-Hop. You still have Burks, right? And then you pick up Calvin Ridley. Then you pick up Tyler Boyd. Yes, Tony Pollard had a down year last year, but he didn't have the yin to his yang. He didn't have the Buck to the Combs. He didn't have the Zeke to the Tony Pollard. Now he does have that with Tajay Spears, right? And and that defense sneakily is very, very good. They're very, very thin. So if a secondary happens to go down, if a linebacker happens to go down, their backups aren't as good as a lot of other backups in the league, like the Chicago Bears, like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But their defense starters are still pretty damn good. And this is week 1. So a 10-point game in week one is tough, Combs. I truly think that the Titans can go into Chicago, new look offense, new look defense. Will Levis finally gets the reins of full offseason of being the guy. Like, I think the Bears are kind of in for a rude awakening come week one.
I like it could be, and look, anything can happen week one, right? Because week one is one of the where there's a lot of, especially with a rookie quarterback, especially with Rome Odunze, a rookie wide receiver. There's something different about this team, about this franchise, and we're just here in Chicago, man. When you're watching this, it's just something that we've never seen before, and it's exciting to watch. I think it would be. It's hard for me to see a scenario where the Bears lose. If this game was in Tennessee, I might be with you. But the fact that this game is here in Chicago, I think it's just I don't see any way that Tennessee wins this football.
I think that's why they lose the game is because the game is at Chicago. I mean, you are in the city. I'm sure you feel the buzz, you feel the excitement around the city. Caleb Williams' first game as a pro. We're good. We're a top 10 defense the last month of the season. Like we got Keenan Allen, we got DJ Moore, like we got Rome. We are going to be good. We're supposed to be good. So if the first quarter sucks, Bear fans might get a little restless, might be like, maybe Caleb isn't the guy, because they really haven't truly watched the preseason games, because they don't really truly understand he is a rookie. Those first two drives might be shit. Third drive might be awesome, but those first two drives, like, Caleb Williams sucks. He's a bust, yada, yada, yada. And that might get underneath the Bears team in general, hearing the fans get restless.
Yeah, I mean, look, if all that happens, then, kudos to you for calling it and seeing it coming down that way. It is very hard pressed for me to see a situation like that actually happening. I think this team is very well coached. I think that this team is poised to be better. You talked about, the Titans. If a couple things bounce a different way, they could be a 10 to 12 win team last year. The Bears, they won 7 games last year, and if they don't blow 3 games in historic fashion in the fourth quarter on defense, with leads that in no other scenario had any team in the history of the NFL lost, they're a 10-win team.
Right.
And so the Bears are a very good football team. They've improved at quarterback. They've improved immensely at wide receiver. That's the other big thing. They've got guys now that will get open for you. Yeah, you did have DJ Moore last year, but he didn't have a Keenan Allen with him. He didn't have a Rome Odunze with him. He didn't have a DeAndre Swift in the backfield. So it's a much different looking football team as well.
Yeah, and hopefully Keenan Allen can finally find the health to train and be healthy for all 17-game season. And also, just to add to your point there, if the Bears would have not played the Packers week 1, not played the Bucks week 2, the Chiefs week 3, the Broncos week 3, the Vikings week 6 last season, they could have definitely been, kind of got off on a better foot, because obviously confidence is a big factor in a lot of the NFL, right? Teams get hot, whatever, they do their thing.